What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of my HLTV Fantasy. Today we are looking at PGL Major Antwerp 2022 Legends stage. So, next stage of the event. These teams are playing in this stage. If you didn't see my Pick'ems video, go check that one out. You'll see some of my thoughts on why I think some teams are gonna advance and do well, and why I think some teams are not. The big thing about HLTV Fantasy especially is that the initial matchups are gonna be very important in terms of who does the best in fantasy. We have FaZe Clan playing against the Ents, and then Navi versus G2 as two very big matchups. Start this stage of the tournament, and I think that's gonna be a pretty deciding factor in terms of deciding which teams are going to do the best. If you look at the most picked players, it's only FaZe and Navi players, which I'm not so sure is like, I think they're overpicked is the mild way of putting it. Especially maybe Navi, like we haven't seen a really good Navi for a long time. I think this might be inflated by just the fact that people are playing more fantasy when there's a really big tournament going on, and there's gonna be less informed players, and they're gonna pick like Simples of the world, who is like very hard to make a team around here. It's maybe fine. It might be in the best lineup to have Simple, but I usually try to stray away from that. Either way, which teams do I think are the best picks for this stage and in HLTV? I think actually Cloud9, surprisingly maybe enough, should be a pretty good pick here, because of the fact that they have an easier matchup in the first round against outsiders. As well as that, I also think Ens is actually a pretty good pick because a lot of people are picking FaZe, and I think it's favored the first match for FaZe, but it's very possible that Ens win a best of one against FaZe Clan. Especially after Ens have already played a lot of games here in Antwerp, and well, FaZe haven't. This is going to be their first game of the event, so there could be some start of tournament jitters for them. So I think there's a very good possibility that Ens takes the win in that first matchup, and that could propel them into a 3-0 even. Kind of the same with G2 and Navi. I think G2 have a pretty decent shot of beating Navi if all the kind of click. It's hard to say how it's gonna actually end up, but I think it's also a very close to 50-50 matchup. But I'm kind of eyeing Cloud9, as I said, because I feel like they might actually go 3-0 in this stage, because they have an easier initial matchup. They have a pretty good shot at doing that, at least. I'm not really considering too many teams. Like, the teams I'm considering are FaZe, Navi, Cloud9, then maybe Vitality slightly, G2 and Ents. I think those are the like 6, maybe 5 to 6 teams who I would see myself picking players from. Saivu is actually a pretty enticing prospect, as well as Shiro to me. Maybe Inters and Exile. Hobbit wouldn't be a bad pick either, for sure not. I really have a hard time starting this. I don't know why. I have a hard time starting to pick players this time around, because let's just click some players. So get started. So if I go Cloud9, these could be some of the players I pick. Maybe if I go G2 alongside Cloud9, who would I pick? I think Alexi B at 198 grand, 168 grand is probably not what I would do. Because he had a pretty decent previous stage. Of course, they played 5 maps and won 4 of them, so he's gonna have pretty high stats because of that. But I think he's very capable of getting similar stats again. And then I don't know if I like Hunter or Monesi more. Maybe Monesi because he's an AWPer. I guess Alexi also kind of enables me to go for Shiro if I want. Could go Shiro. Then I probably go Hunter rather than Monesi. I really like Hunter. I don't know if you've realized this based on watching my pick'ems, but I really like Hunter as a player. And then I could go lists. Like here's a pretty damn decent looking lineup. We could go support Inters, IGL Alexi, main op Shiro, Hunter on like CT rating maybe, and then headshots on twists. Like works very well role wise. I'm a pretty happy camper with this lineup at least. If I end up going for this, it's a very like there's a lot of possibilities, especially if you go for Alexi B, and I am kind of like cautiously optimistic about picking Alexi in this one. I'm liking him more than Jax for this one, at least. Let's put it that way. Could go Nico. Go Nico, Alexi. Then you probably don't go for Hero. Then it's probably like Exile Inters, but then we don't have an AWPer. Becomes less easy role-wise. Probably like Multifragger Nico, CT rating Exile, again support IGL, and then it's just anyone's pick. Who do I want to go for like next? Maybe a Dupree could be decent. Yeah. Could go for like Alexi and then a lot of the cheaper but still good players. Like Diha was really good last stage if I'm not mistaken. Hades not that much. He was pretty good, yeah. 1.09 is good for him. He had some really good performances as well. Something like this is... Oh wait, they play phase ends first, so I wouldn't go for this. I'd rather go for like, I guess Navi. At least a lot in the bank actually, so not that great. There's almost too many good luck possibilities. You could go for this. Bit electronic. Like modern, but bit electronic is actually like pretty decent. I like electronic because of LAN. I already picked him in my Ego app lineup. I think Alexi makes a lot of sense. I don't know why. I really want to go for him. I guess I could show you my last stage team and how it went. So Alexi was a very good pick for his price. Hunter was very good. Things was good. Hades wasn't as good as he could have been, and Far League, of course, was like the biggest letdown for me. But still, a top 14% is very respectable, I guess. Not unhappy with this at all. It's hard because if you wanted to like win, you have to get basically 2 3-0 teams, as in like G2 and Vitality in your lineup. And I didn't really think that the 2 highest seed teams would ever meet at 2-0. I'm not sure how it's actually decided which teams play against each other at 2-0. It might just be like by chance. But eventually, so the best lineup was, I think, a Zaivu lineup. Yeah. Like Alexi Hunter. Alexi Hunter was the best, but then it was like Patsy, who had like a sick performance in terms of like he had a really high, yeah, I guess entry fragger, and Spirit did very well, and he did very well for Spirit, so worked out very well this lineup for some people. I think Alexi still is going to be good in this stage, personally. Going G2 Navi is not the, like only if you could go Alexi and like double Navi and then no more G2 players. Like that's completely reasonable. Something like this. Not like the best lineup because there's no AWP. What do we have? We have like entry fragger on This entry a bit iffy, right? Robs is a 6 rating, by the way. Like multi-kill probably on Robs, headshots on bit, Rain with entries and CT rating electronic, or the other way around. And then like support Alexi. No, IGL is not the weirdest thing you can do in this. Like you can go IGL less actually, because when you lose once, it's pretty bad. You get like -2 points. So I'm not. It might actually be pretty good to go without IGL in this one. In that case, like this could be a very good lineup. But of course, Bit and Electronic could get robbed of a lot of like rating by other Navi players. As in simple most of the time. I really like the idea of having Alexi. There's a lot. There's so many options that you have once you pick Alexi B. I think I'm gonna stick with my original plan of going like hero Alexi Hunter and another Cloud9 player. This is possible. This is possible, I guess. Very much stock in Cloud9 if you go for this. I don't think that's quite what I want to go for. Hobbit is basically the same. I think Inters is the one that makes the most sense. 208 grand for twists just makes a ton of sense. Kind of a no-brainer almost. You'd go Rez. Rez has been kind of insane, like as a one-off player. Like looking at his recent results, especially, like as an individual, he's been like insane. I don't hate that. What about Brolan then? Could also go Brolan. But he's like straight up just had worse events recently than Rez. Rez might just be the one player we really want to have in our team. Wait, then you can go maybe Monesi? Go Rez, Inters Monesi? Do we have the cash for that? No, like 1 grand off, right? Man. Why does it always have to be 1 grand off? We'd have to go Nafani maybe? Yeah, to go Monesi. Not really worth it, I don't think. Can't you be 1 grand cheaper? I like the idea of one of Rez. I think there's great arguments to be made for in case, like in favor of that. If you just go, this is the problem with Cloud9, I think. Like 213, so it's not bad to go for this. It's just that Nafani's stats have been so shit. I'm sorry, like so bad for so long. They were decent, like it was decent here, the RMR, like but just only decent. At least his price now reflects like how bad he's been for a while, or how bad his stats have been at these good big events. Maybe Nafani is actually the pick, like this. How would this work role-wise? So I actually don't want to go IGL Alexi, so I would want to go support. There'd be support on Alexi, main op, CT rating, I think. Yeah, probably CT rating. Nathanias entry and then Monesi. Oh wait, we have yeah, probably main op, Monesi, and then like multi kill or something on Shiro. I really like this lineup, I can't lie. I think Nafani might be not bad. Let's look at a couple more options, or should I just stick with this? I really like the idea of going one off res. Do I? Maybe I'm just getting baited by just having him having really high stats against in like just a couple games. He's looked really good in those couple games though, but Alexi B Shiro gives really nice backbone. Can I go for like a Hobbit lineup, let's say? Hobbit at Major should be pretty good. Like with the experience that he has. But then we have to go for like a cheap fourth, which isn't bad per se. For example, Misuta. Uxi's 159 grand. I can't believe how cheap he is. Like, wait, if we go Monaseek, who can we get out of these? Izzy and only. It's hard to fit Hobbit and... But we could go Hobbit and Exile instead of Shiro, right? Like, this becomes a lot more reasonable again. Now we have... Like, there's cases to be made for, like, heroic players as well. I haven't really explored options with, like, ends. But I think Cloud9 is actually the pick that I want to go for here. We could go Perfecto. It makes a lot of sense, support Perfecto. Then it would have to be IGL Alexi. Main op, CT multi-kill. Multi-kill like that. And then support on Perfecto. It's a good lineup. I think I'm gonna go with this. I like this more than Shiro. Shiro is like insane, but also very expensive, and this lets me have like 3 really good players. I'll go with this. So IGL, putting quite a bit of faith into Alexi. I'll just take it actually off for now, but I'll just check other ones, because in this I'm not super keen on going for anyone as IGL. 100% main op, by the way. To be CT here, but the IGL makes like no sense really. CT rating, probably. Like entry fragger Alexi makes some sense. But I think IGL is the better risk to take, basically. Or it's a good risk to take, I think. Like the biggest, like I don't think it's a big problem that Navi plays G2 round 1. Especially if G2 win first round. I think I have to take one of these gambles anyways. I think Navi is overpicked, as I talked about earlier. I think FaZe is also slightly overpicked, but it's expected that people are gonna go for FaZe. I still don't think they're gonna be like super insane fantasy-wise. I feel like they're always gonna make it through. I don't know if they're gonna be like a surefire 3-0 or something. But okay. Boosters, oh my god, there's like no easy matchups, and that makes some of the boosters like tough to say. So for example, KSD I usually use early on, and I will use it on Hobbit here, because Outsiders should be like the easiest matchup Cloud9 get. What else is good, like in early? Oh yeah, these are best of ones, by the way. Yeah, so this one is always used on someone, for example. Which else? Like the rare ones are best to use here, like the ones that are rarely gonna trigger, like that, like the ace, Exile or Perfecto. Let's say Exile gets an ace, I don't know. choke. Wanna see, does G2 choke against Navi? Maybe. I mean, maybe they do. I'll just go Monesi as choke. What else is rarely triggering this? But we'll use it on Hobbit probably in the next round. We can do this. Because there's of course another round of best of ones at least for all of these teams, and one of most likely like Navi or G2 are gonna play 3 best of ones. It's putting a lot of faith into G2 being able to beat Navi. But I think it's fair to put some expectation on G2, especially because Navi is not looking like super insane. And it's a best of one. And then Cloud9. I mean, they just have great seed. It's like somewhat easy first matchup, or at least should be very doable for them. And their floor is just so high that I have hard time seeing them not do very well. Like, if I had to pick one team for 3-0, I think Cloud9 would be my 3-0 pick. Not actually for my pick'ems, because of course you don't want to put some of the best teams in 3-0. But if I had to actually predict one team to go 3-0, I think Cloud9 might be that team. Either way, okay, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy this kind of content. If you do, remember to leave a like. Also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more fantasy content, both on Ego app, HLTV, and then the occasional other video based on CS content. Either way, thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.